Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another Podapalooza episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Dooley, your host, and I am here with Mae Caime. Welcome to the show, Mae.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here, and I'm just going to introduce you to the audience. Mae is a visionary entrepreneur, dynamic health expert with a passion for empowering others. As the founder and CEO of Amazing, with her name in the middle of that word, Midlife and Beyond, her mission is to discredit ageism and ignite a fire within women to live with energy, action, and purpose. Mae holds a variety of impressive titles, including registered nurse, certified integrative health coach, and Miss New York Senior America 2023. Congratulations. Her entrepreneurial journey is marked by creativity, compassion, and an undeniable impact.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. And I love your philosophy. Health is your true wealth. I just love it. As soon as I saw that, I was like, it's beautiful.
It's so true, right? Because without our health, you've seen it. You're a nurse. You've seen it in the hospitals, etc. We can't do anything from our sickbed. We can't be a good parent. We can't be a good partner. We can't run a business. We can't build our career. And yet society programs us to take our health for granted and just go to the doctor to fix us when we get sick.
Yeah. Agree. I totally agree. And unfortunately, I'm hoping, maybe as time comes on now and, whatever, that we get more into the preventative aspect of health, and that we also take care of not just the physical ailment of like arm, wrist, and the body, but also our minds, our hearts, the emotional part with all of, what we've gone through as a country and the world with the COVID and the mental health issues for young people. More so, I think that is a very important aspect of dealing with that anxiety and how to calm ourselves, because stress induces so much illness. I mean, I can tell you that from myself being a CEO, I can pushing and 2 jobs and 3 jobs. And I personally, was diagnosed, and, I share that because I think it's an important part of the story, with Hashimoto's, which was fine. That's okay. It's an immune issue when you have that with that. And then with lupus. And I think that was the catalyst that really, I always thought I was so healthy. I realized I really wasn't. I mean, it looked good because I was physically, I didn't have any of the symptoms, weight-wise, I looked healthy and all that. But, and I didn't have a lot of the typical, but I had other, things, mentally, that I think the stress levels, I'm sure, induced a lot of the health ailments and triggered things, the inflammations in my body, right?
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
The 3 major causes of chronic illness in our world today are stress, high toxic load, and low nutrient uptake. And when we can address those 3, we can start to eliminate so much of the chronic illness, and people can heal from chronic illness.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear more of your story, your healing story from lupus and Hashimoto's.
Yeah, I think what happened is I had to get a little bit control on diet first, stop the sugar load. Right. When you're originally as a nurse, and you don't drink coffee and you start with coffee, you just add a lot of sugar. And then I worked in pediatrics. So I don't know, I was popping ice creams all night, I guess, and all of those things, you start to do. And honestly, this is one thing I'll say, and I think this is important as women, especially. We kind of poo-poo, I'll call it that, any kind of health ailment we have. And we kind of think a lot of it is just overload. We're doing a lot. We're working full time. We're still caring for children. We're handling elderly parents. And I'm not saying that men don't do it. They just don't do it to the level of which predominantly women still do in society. I mean, we just have a heavy load, and yet we're trying to maintain all of those things. So when we have something, which I had symptoms, ignored them because I figured I'm just tired. I'm just, body aches or things. You just keep going. You just keep going, right? So you kind of dismiss a lot of those things. And it was a, basic routine. And they were the ones who said, oh my God, you're a mess. Like basic blood work, everything was off. The blood counts were off, but this was off. And I'm like, oh, but you know what? I feel fine. They're like, no, you really, seriously, you got to get a grip here, and honestly, being in, traditional medicine definitely has its place. There are times where treatment is necessary and medications, and we're so, grateful for it.
And acute care is amazing.
Right. But there are times when it's overly prescribed and it's fixing the problem instead of getting to the root cause.
Right. It's the bandaid sometimes instead of the root.
Yeah. And I think that for anyone in health and wellness, they've got to go to that root cause. And I think the other thing too is many times I see this in what I do with women is they go to a physician, they may have the complaints, they're given a quick Band-Aid or whatever, and they don't go for a second opinion. They're just like, okay, that's it. This is what I have. And you have to go with your gut and your heart and your instinct to say, I'm not right. Something's not right, and seek another opinion.
100%.
Right.
Because we've lived in our body our whole entire lives. So we're our own best doctor. We know when something's not right. And so, yes, listening to our intuition at that point is so important, and getting that second opinion. Keep looking until you find the person that is willing to listen to you and what your concerns are, and can then help you address them. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think too, we as well have to take responsibility for certain things. Like myself, I'll use, I mean, I've learned from experience, like they say, I mean, your gut is like the queen, right? They say the gut is the queen of the body. And if the queen ain't happy, the whole kingdom falls apart. You've heard that, I'm sure, right? Yep. The kingdom is shut. But yet I would eat things and get a stomach ache, but repeat that again in another couple and eat it again. We're like, oh, you have a stomach, and not like take the time. And I think that's part of when you're on that health journey or wellness, take the time to document, write down like what's going on so that you can see some kind of connection.
Yes.
And not ignoring, like, what, you're right, that's probably not good for me. Why is that not good for me? Sometimes we just keep thinking like this is the way I should always have a stomach ache. And then I realized, no, this is not normal,
Exactly. And yet so many people do accept it as normal because it creeps up on us.
Yeah.
And we forget what it feels like to eat and not have a stomach ache.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you Melissa, do you focus in all parts, or where, mental health, physical?
I love to jokingly call myself the friendly toxin slayer, in that I help people detox their physical body, their emotional body. So releasing all the stuff down emotions and the bag of rocks we're carrying around. The mental body, releasing all the limiting decisions, and then the spiritual body, detoxing that. And what I mean by that is bringing it into alignment. Are you actually living the life that you came here to live? Or are you in a job that you hate, that you stay there because it pays the bills?
Yeah.
So like you said earlier, it's addressing all of the bodies. It's not just looking at the physical body. Because by the time symptoms show up in the physical body, they've come through the other three bodies. And so we start the healing in the physical body. Absolutely. And we want to get to the root, as you said. And then we clear it in the other three bodies. And that's how we get to total health. Because I'm sure lots of people that, they had a diagnosis and it was addressed in the physical body and they got through it. And then a few years later, there's another diagnosis. Yeah. And it's because the symptoms have come back as the emotional body or the mental body are going, hello, you didn't address all this stuff down in motion that becomes toxic in our body over the course of a lifetime.
Yeah, I have to so agree with you, because even mindset, I think, has a lot to do with it. I'm not saying all, but in the spiritual path and the recovery for those like that have cancer, and I don't mean, I'm not saying all, and there's miracles all, but generally those that have that positive mindset, or like, I'm going to get this and whatever, do much better,
Yes.
than those that are just, that's it. This is it. It's a that's, and, and it's not that one person is stronger than another. It's just that they really, there's a lot, I think, emotionally as well.
Yeah. And that mindset absolutely is so powerful. It's the
Yeah.
mindset of, do you have the belief that you can heal? Because if you have the belief you can heal, that gives you hope. If you're stuck over here in fear, that just shuts everything down. It shuts down the immune system. It creates stress on the body, and you're not able to heal because your immune system is now shut down. Right. And
Yeah.
so our mind is so powerful. And I love teaching that in my work and sharing that with people as well. And I know you work with that because you have a really fun talk title as well called Mirror, Mirror, Ditch the Doubt, Embrace the Dazzle. And I love that. And of course, ditching the doubt is all about the power of our mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it is so powerful from every aspect, from how we see ourselves, from self-esteem to, how we beat ourselves up to, just embracing the good parts, embrace the dazzle. It's a very interesting thing. And it's also what we're taught, right? Over and over again, or what we hear. And, it's so funny how we quickly can hold on to that negative comment or thing, but yet the positive ones that we get, we let them come in and out really quickly. We don't hold on to them. So, yeah.
So much societal programming there, right? And, I'm one of those people that I was taught it's always great to give. Giving is better than receiving. And it wasn't until just a few years ago that somebody said to me, you know that giving and receiving is cyclical, right? So for you to be able to give means someone else has to be able to receive. And for them to be able to give means you have to be able to receive.
Yeah.
If you can't learn to receive, then you're not allowing them to give.
Right.
And that was a whole whoa, never thought of it that way before for me, right?
Yeah.
And so learning to receive. And that can be something as simple as receiving a compliment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did that once. It's a great analogy you just said about that, taking in to being able to receive, because generally as women, especially if you're in healthcare or you're whatever, you're givers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But women in general were much more givers and caretakers and stuff like that. And my girlfriend, this is a perfect analogy, especially for women that are hard on themselves and have young daughters, right? And she's complimenting her daughter, and her daughter is saying, "Oh, I look fat in this. This is terrible," blah, 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 and on and on. And she was so mad. Like, right. So she's like, I'm like, I don't understand. She's this and this and this. And she's telling me like, this doesn't, isn't right, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, how does that make you feel? So she says, it's terrible. Like, I don't understand. So I said, I want you to think about yourself for a minute, because she used to do this. You compliment her. And she would be like, oh, this sweater, it's old. Or, oh, really? My hair doesn't look really that good today. I look like I'm tired. I said, do you realize? I said, do you feel that emotion? I said, you just robbed somebody else of a gift.
Mm-hmm.
She said, what do you mean? I said, you robbed that person. They gave you a gift. They wanted to feel good, because when they make you feel good, they feel good. And by you knocking it down, you just beat them up. You just hurt them like that. You just took them back. And she was like, I said, and when you do that, I said, you're being selfish. And she was like, I was the only thing I could think of to get her to stop that with her door. I go, that's very selfish. You're thinking only about yourself. Well, I want to say this about myself. Just take it. Thank you. And I received that and let it go. But it's not easy. It's not easy. I've always been good at it.
Good for you. And we all have different programs, right? That we run through our entire life. And we get into adulthood, and then we discover, oh, that program's no longer working for me. And we don't realize we can shift it and we can change it. We update the programs on our phone the moment we get the update that there's a new update. And we can update ourselves and change our programs. So if that program is no longer working, the program where I have to put myself down for whatever reason, if someone pays me a compliment, I have to downplay it, because somewhere in my childhood, it wasn't good to receive that, or it wasn't good to shine.
Right.
And that's the program we still run.
Yeah, I
And
think you're right. Do you work a lot with
unconscious.
that, with young, like with childhood, well, not trauma, but
Childhood programming. Yes, I work a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I would think, yeah, right, because there's so much that's underlying that carries us through as an adult.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's where you're able to a skill set, take that and kind of re-channel it or re.
Yeah, we literally rewire the neurology. And then there's homework, there's tasking. So there is effort. Working with the unconscious mind, though, is so much faster than working with the conscious mind, because the unconscious mind is the other 90%, and it's fast. And we literally rewire the neurology, and then we give steps to practice using the new neurology so that we can make that little bunny trail into a 2-lane highway, into a 4-lane or a 2-lane road, 4-lane road. And then before you know it, it's an 8-lane highway. So the brain goes this way now instead of that way. So previously it might have gone that way, and it's not good to shine. And so I have to put down whatever somebody said nice about me to over here, where now I can just say, thank you, I received that, and move forward.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that becomes automatic. So it's
Yeah,
really
it's such a blessing what you do in doing that for people, because that's a skill set. There's training. I know you've done probably extensive training, for that.
Yes.
That's what my role basically is. I look for therapists or physicians or trained expertise in these fields that I refer women to. I always say,
Beautiful.
as like a CEO background, my thing is connecting people to those experts and staying within the field of what I do and what I do well. And then you go to the next level, because some people need, a more in-depth care and treatment. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the fun of, recognizing that too, for people, and that we're all, even myself, like I love learning all these things. There's always something you can learn or make yourself better or try new modalities and, whatever they may be, from, brainwave sound baths, all of those. Are you involved with any of that too? Or
I know of them. I've used sound baths, and yes, definitely working with brain waves. And it's all, so many ways that we can support our brain, our body in healing. And as you said, I love learning it too. And we kind of jokingly say in our trainings that, we're all here to never stop learning, because you're either growing, learning, or dying. And which side of that spectrum would you like to be on, right? Don't be on the dying side, be on the learning and growing side, because no one of us can ever know everything.
Right.
And so when we just keep learning, and we're just scratched the surface of what we know about the brain. So I loved this conversation, Mae, and love what you're doing. And our work is clearly aligned, and we really understand each other here. And I love to ask every single one of my guests, what does "don't wait for your wake-up call" mean to you?
So I would say, don't wait to any of your medical or physical ailments or overpowering you for dysfunction. Start to see the little tidbits of things that start to happen before you in the I will say the crash and burn, real crash and burn, is recognize when things start to escalate, to catch them before they get to the deep level of permanent damage or things along that line that are much harder to repair. And like I said, simple things like in well-being or physical ailments, you're not, as women, you're more constipated, or you're just more fatigued, and you're like brain fog, or you're not, you just don't have the energy. You're just feeling like, all right, this is another day, and you're waking up and you just don't want to get out of bed. I mean, that's a good sign in itself. You don't want to get out of bed and go, okay, I'm ready for the day. That's telling you you're having a sleep issue. And sleep is also critical. It's like one of the foundations,
I agree.
And I think that if you recognize that and you can get a hold of somebody and not be afraid to go out, even if it's a therapist that you need, or a physical person to do ailments, or search something out, because that's not what life's supposed to be. And I think many women, I see it, allow that to be, that's normal, like the way I'm feeling, because their friend feels it, because they're in a group of women that are all overworked and in
Exactly.
that whole thing. So it's like, oh, we're all the same. I guess this is normal. It's not normal.
Not normal. I say the same thing. We look around and see everyone else just as stressed out as we are, and we think it's normal. And you're
Right.
right. It's absolutely not.
Yeah. So just
So,
take, time for that. That I think is, and I've just seen it myself. Like I said, I'm 66 years old. So I recently in the 60s, and now I think, I'm going to live to 120. So I'm thinking this is midlife now.
yeah,
Like, like
beautiful.
that,
I
like
love
the,
it.
right. I'm like, oh, midlife. I guess I'm a little past that. And I'm like, no, I'm not on midlife.
You're right there.
And,
Perfect.
I'm like, I'll just be one of those, whatever, stop my plastics, do the right things. I hopefully, and still have fun. I'm not going to tell people
Absolutely.
I don't have fun. I do. But I think that, just, taking time for ourselves a little bit, especially even at night, it's like sleep is so important.
It
I don't
is.
know. I'm very knock wood. I always say this. I literally, I must be like that energy, battery, pull it out, bump, I'm out in 5 minutes.
Right.
I think it's my brain just like, that's it. But I think, that's a skill set too,
It
how
is.
to go to sleep.
It is. I have a whole course on it because,
Do you?
I do
You-
6 steps to better sleep. And I'm very fortunate. I'm a good sleeper. However, I know so many people aren't. And so that's why I
That's a great course. Oh, I have to look
on
that
how to
up. I
sleep.
could refer people to, because they're like, I don't sleep. Can't get sleep. Part of it is taking responsibility for, like you said, learning how to do that. But
Mhm.
this is all part of learning. And I think, when people, and as you know, any healthy habit, I always tell people takes like 60 days. Like, to forget this, 2 weeks. It doesn't happen like that. It's 60 days. It's like drinking water, right? How much hydration do you need? I'm like, oh, and I even forget. But those are the things, right? And health basics. I say start with basics. Just drink more water,
Exactly. That's a great step one is just drink
right?
more water.
Just drink more
So,
water.
May, if anybody wants to get a hold of you and work with you, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I put all of my events and classes and things that are coming up. So it's just Mae Caime, MAE, like my first name, and then it's CAIM is Mary E. So my LinkedIn, and also Amazing, which is spelled like my name, AMAEZING, midlife, on Instagram, and Amazing Midlife and Beyond is my website.
Perfect. We will have all of that in the show notes for you.
Thank
And
you.
is there any last words wisdom you would like to share with the audience as we wrap this episode?
No, just to listen to yourself and not be afraid to seek out, treatment and healthy guidelines. And I always say it's never too late. It is never too late. So many people are like, oh, I've been, this all. No, it's never too late. It can change at 60, 70, at like I said, at 65, I became a senior in New York, and in pageant life, I would have said I would have never done that, right? And I have women in my group now that are 85, 90, they're starting back dating, like little Giuseppe and all. So, there's still love available. There's still all of that. And I think that's the thing. It's just never too late. And, you should live life to its fullest, full of energy.
Beautiful. I love that. And I love your, at 66, it's midlife. That's my thought process as well. So we can do this together, May, and we can bring as many people along for the ride that want to come and learn with us. And
Yeah.
thanks to my audience, because I know you guys are all here learning about your health, implementing this in your life, and also wanting to enjoy a long, healthy, vital life. So appreciate you being here and have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
rest of your week.
Yeah. Thank you.
Your unconscious mind is powerful. It's the other 90% of your mind. And yet, you're not even taught about it at school. What if you could access the other 90%? It would be like driving the highway in sixth gear instead of first gear. That's what you're doing when you only know the tools of the conscious mind, the 10%. You're going through life in first gear. Are you ready to ramp up and go through life in sixth gear? Learn the powerful tools of your unconscious mind, healing trauma, clearing anxiety in minutes rather than weeks, months, and years. Join our next Meet Your Unconscious Mind workshop. so that you can start to learn the power that you already hold within and the tools to access it. Look for the link to register in the show notes.